Hey, happy Monday, everyone. Nick here. Want to shoot a quick video. I did a podcast, so I figured I'd shoot a video about how to choose your market when doing overages or surplus funds. Because that's a big question. You kind of want to know, if you want to do it locally or if you want to do it in a different state, in a different market. So I went over in my podcast kind of some key items that you want to look at when you're considering choosing a market. One of the biggest things that I like to look at first is, first you need to decide if you're going after tax sale overages or mortgage foreclosure overages. What I've found is nationwide, you can usually do mortgage overages in almost any state. There are some states where there's some fee limitations. So that's one thing you'll want to do is consider, does your state limit what you can charge someone to help them recover an overage? As far as tax sales go, I know there's at least 6 states that limit what you can charge. And for mortgage foreclosures, there's also at least 3 or 4 off the top of my head. An example is Florida. For mortgage overages, you can only charge 12%. Washington is another example, 5%. We talk about some of the other states in my online coaching group, the Overage Syndicate. You can check that out at overagesyndicate.com. Another thing you're going to want to consider is, if you're doing tax sale overages, do you even have tax sale overages in your state? There are certain states where where just tax sale overages just don't exist, either because they aren't generated because of the way they do the sales, or the county or whoever can actually keep the money. Couple examples of this: Michigan is one of those places where you can't do tax sale overages, mostly because the county gets to keep the money. What else? Arizona, no tax sale overages. Colorado, no tax sale overages. And then of course Michigan, I've already mentioned. There's actually 14 states. There's 14 states that do not have tax sale overages. So those 14 states, obviously you would only do mortgage overages. You would not do tax sale overages in those 14 states. I've mentioned 3 of them: Colorado, Arizona, Michigan. We talk about the other states again in my online coaching group, the Overage Syndicate. If you want to learn more about that and how you can, get started in the business, you can go to overagesyndicate.com. But yeah, guys, so those are the biggest things you're going to want to consider is, 1, the fee limitation. 2, do you even have overages in your state? And 3, one thing I like to do is just go by population. What I've found is that 80% of my deals usually come from 20% of the counties in a state. Many of you may have heard of the 80-20 rule. You could apply that into the overage business, and it works pretty good, actually. So what you're going to want to do is look at the top 20% of counties in a state by population. And those top, whatever counties those are, the bigger counties, probably 80% of your deals are going to come out of those counties. That's not saying you can't do rural counties. I've seen overages in rural counties, and I've seen some big overages in rural counties. So you can absolutely go after those because the competition may be less in the rural areas. So that's another thing you'll want to consider is, look at your population, look at your counties. Obviously, the more people there are, the more foreclosures you're going to have. So that's another thing you'll want to look at. And then the other thing is, try to attend a sale if at all possible. Go to a foreclosure auction. Ideally one where there's multiple sales going on, and see if homes are being bid up and if they're selling for a lot more, 10, 20, 30, 50 grand more than what the opening bid is. If they are, then that there's probably some overages and some work you can do in that county. If they're not, then you may want to not consider that market. So those are some tips on choosing a market if you're working overages or surplus funds. Hopefully that's helpful for you. If it is, please like, subscribe, share this video with others. And again, if you're wanting to get started or wanting help getting started in the business, you can go to the Overage Syndicate. It's just www.overagesyndicate.com. That's overagesyndicate.com. And you can learn more about getting started in the business. All right, guys, hopefully this helps, and we'll talk to you later. See ya.